The Terran Dominion, Beginnings. Chapter 4. The Aftermath. The once bustling colony of Varnus IV lay in ruins, a stark reminder of the ferocity of the Drakavian assault and the overwhelming power of the Terran response. Smoke billowed from the remains of shattered buildings, and the ground was littered with debris from both sides. The sky, once filled with the activity of drones and shuttles, was now eerily silent, save for the distant hum of repair crews and medical teams attending to the wounded. High above the planet, the Terran fleet maintained a vigilant orbit, ensuring no Drakavian reinforcements could threaten their newly reasserted control. The battleships Cairo and Venus, along with their supporting ships, had formed a protective perimeter around the planet, their weapon systems primed for any potential threats. On board the cruiser Luna, Captain Alexander Carson stood on the bridge of the Luna, his eyes scanning the holographic display that depicted the aftermath of the battle. His crew was busy at their stations, analyzing data and preparing reports. The atmosphere was a mix of relief and somber reflection. They had achieved a decisive victory, but the cost had been high. Benji, status report, Carson ordered, his voice steady. Shields are recharging, Captain. Hull integrity at 85%. We have minor damage to the cloaking system, but it's repairable. Benji's voice responded, calm and efficient as always. Carson nodded, turning his attention to the communications officer. Open a channel to Admiral Kraus, in the command center of the Wrath of Dravuk. On board the Drakavian flagship, the Wrath of Dravuk, the mood was starkly different. High Warlord Tharuk, Varn, Zarana, the War Priestess, and Skarneth the Chief Tactician stood in the command center, their expressions grim. The battle had been a catastrophic defeat, one that would have far-reaching consequences for their people. Tharuk's voice was a low growl as he addressed his advisors. We underestimated them, their technology, their tactics. We were outmatched. Zarana, still nursing her wounds, spoke with a fierce determination. This is not the end. We must regroup, learn from this encounter, and prepare for the next conflict. The spirit of our ancestors will guide us. Skarneth, his strategic mind already formulating plans, added, we need to reassess our approach. Direct confrontation may not be the best strategy. We must find other ways to weaken them, exploit their weaknesses. Aboard the Terran flagship, Cairo, Admiral Kraus appeared on the holoscreen, his stern face softened by a rare smile of approval. Captain Carson, excellent work. Your quick thinking and tactical prowess saved countless lives and secured our position in this sector. Thank you, Admiral, Carson replied. We were lucky to catch them off guard. However, I believe this is just the beginning. The Drakavians will not take this defeat lightly. Kraus nodded. Agreed. We will fortify our positions and prepare for their retaliation. In the meantime, we need to assist the colony and ensure the safety of our people. Your orders are to return to Sector 30 for repairs and resupply. I already sent a report to the High Council. Now, we have to wait for the new orders. Yes, sir. On the surface of Varnus IV, teams of engineers and medics moved through the rubble, helping survivors and beginning the long process of rebuilding. Among them was Lieutenant Sarah Mills, a seasoned field officer who had seen her fair share of battles. She coordinated the efforts, her voice calm and reassuring despite the chaos around her. Priority is to secure the central command center and recover any critical data, Mills instructed her team. We need to understand what they were after and ensure our defenses are reinforced. The Imperial Palace on Terra was a marvel of architectural grandeur, an epitome of human achievement and power. Its vast halls and chambers echoed with the wisdom of ages past and the ambitions of the present. In the heart of the palace lay the High Council chamber, where the most critical decisions of the Terran Dominion were made. Emperor Marcus Aurelius the 24th, known for his wisdom and just rule, sat on the elevated throne at the head of the chamber. Clad in regal robes, his presence commanded respect and reverence. Around the grand circular table sat the members of the High Council, representatives from the most influential houses of the Dominion. Among them were the 5 most powerful ducal houses: House Valerius, House Tiberius, House Corvinus, House Drusus, and House Quintus. Each house had a storied history and wielded considerable power within the empire. Marcus Aurelius the 24th spoke. Honored members of the High Council, we are gathered here to discuss the recent developments in Sector 51 and the implications for our dominion. The Drakavian incursion on Varnus IV has revealed a new threat. We must decide our course of action. Dux Valerius, leaning forward, his expression serious, Your Majesty, the Drakavian threat cannot be underestimated. Their attack on Varnus IV was audacious and brutal. We must respond with decisive force to ensure they understand the might of the Terran Dominion. Dux Corvinus, with a thoughtful look, while a show of force is necessary, we must also consider the long-term strategy. Marcus Aurelius 24 adding, Your points are well taken, Dux Corvinus. Diplomacy and intelligence will play key roles. However, we must also ensure our military is prepared for any eventuality. Dux Drusus, with the stern expression, Our forces are powerful. We have to reallocate our fleet's might. Dux Quintus, calm and calculating. We have the technology advantage. Captain Carson's success with the Luna cruiser demonstrates our capabilities. We should deploy more advanced ships. Marcus Aurelius the 24th, addressing the council, comprehensive strategy is indeed necessary. We will bolster our defenses and deploy more advanced ships. But first, I must address the Empire and inform them that as of today, we are at war with the Drakavians. In charge of the invasion combined fleet will be Admiral Darius, and for the ground troops General Meng will be the best choice. In the following days, the 30th Army of Space Rangers, consisting of 150,000 soldiers, was deployed in Sector 51, together with the ships in orbit, cleaned the planet of reptilians. But no one knew at that time that the speech that will resound throughout the Empire and in every house will remain in history as the signal that unleashed the beast that swallowed the entire galaxy. Chapter 5. The Calm Before the Storm. In Sector 51, ships and troops began to arrive from all parts of the Empire, from battleships and aircraft carriers to frigates and destroyers. The panorama was incredible. No one had seen a gathering like this for 300 years. Captain Carson sits on the command deck and admires the view in front of him before leaving for the command center in Sector 30. He is startled by the signal on the console. The signal came from the destroyer Venus, which was commanded by his good friend, Captain Yosef Silva. It's good to see you after such a long time, Yosef. Captain Yosef, well, if it isn't the hero of the hour, how does it feel to single-handedly scare off an entire Drakavian fleet? Captain Carson, laughing, Oh, come on, Yosef, it was a team effort. Besides, I wouldn't call it single-handed. Luna did most of the heavy lifting. Captain Yosef, sitting down and pouring himself a drink, sure, but you have to admit, you did look pretty impressive up there. All those Drakavians probably thought they were facing some kind of superhuman. Captain Carson, grinning, superhuman, huh? I think they were more confused by how a single cruiser was tearing through their ships like a hot knife through butter. Captain Carson, smirking, well, next time I'll try to leave a few more for you. Maybe even one of those dreadnoughts. They seem like they'd put up a good fight. Captain Carson, clinking his cup against Yosef's glass, and to the Drakavians, for giving us something to laugh about. Here's to more victories and less paperwork. Captain Yosef, here. Captain Carson, not that I don't like seeing you, but why did the bureaucracy send you here? Captain Yosef, I was sent here to go into enemy territory to scout before the invasion. My ship is based on stealth, you know. I have to map all the solar systems and see what defenses they have. Captain Carson, boring. Captain Yosef, I have 20 nuclear mines on board. After I finish the mission, maybe I can get approval to leave some little gifts to those lizards before I leave their territory. Captain Carson, I hope so. Captain Yosef, well, I have to go. It's good to see you again, Carson. Captain Carson, same here, Yosef. Good luck and happy hunting. Carson out. With that, the two ships each left for their destinations, on board the destroyer Venus. Do we have our coordinates? Clara the AI answered. Yes, Captain, I have already entered them. Let's go then. Captain Yosef stood on the bridge of the Venus a sleek, stealth destroyer designed to slip through enemy lines unnoticed. The mission at hand was critical: to infiltrate enemy territory, comprising 5 solar systems, and gather vital intelligence on their defensive systems, planetary layouts, and habitability. The success of future operations depended heavily on the data they would retrieve. All right, team, we're about to enter hostile space. Our primary objectives are to map the defensive systems, chart the solar system layouts, and identify habitable planets. Stealth is our key advantage here. Any questions? Lieutenant Mara: None, sir. All systems are green, and the cloak is fully operational. Captain Yosef: Excellent. Set course for the first system, Zeta Trianguli. Engage stealth drive, and keep non-essential systems powered down. Location: Zeta Trianguli system. The Venus glided silently into the Zeta Trianguli system. The crew's tension was palpable as the main viewscreen displayed the system's layout. 3 planets orbited the star, with defensive satellites and patrol ships scattered throughout. Lieutenant Mara: Captain, we have visual on the first target. There are 15 planets in this system. 7 appears to be habitable, 4 are barren rock, and 4 are gas giants. Defensive satellites are positioned near the habitable planet. Captain Yosef: Noted. Let's get closer to the habitable planets and see what we're dealing with. Mara: Bring us in slowly and keep the cloak at maximum. The Venus drifted closer to the habitable planets one by one, its sensors mapping out the defensive satellites and identifying gaps in their coverage. Ensign Lee: Captain, it looks like the habitable planets have large colonies. Population is high, and their defenses are primarily automated. Captain, 3 of the 7 planets seem to be inhabited by other species. They seem to be slaves. These cursed lizards, what can you expect from them? Soon enough, they will receive the judgment they deserve. Good work, Lee. Log all the data and move us to the next system. Location: Beta Lyrae system. The Venus entered the Beta Lyrae system, which was dominated by 2 large planets, 7 medium planets, and 1 small one, and a dense asteroid belt. Defensive turrets were installed on several asteroids, creating a formidable barrier. Lieutenant Mara: Captain, we have 2 major planets here. One is habitable and heavily fortified. The second is a frozen wasteland. As for the other 8, 5 of the medium ones seem to have heavy industry on them. The rest are just rocks. The asteroid belt is heavily armed with defensive turrets and 50 warships. This one's going to be tough. We'll need to navigate through the asteroid belt carefully. Use the asteroids for cover and avoid detection. The Venus maneuvered through the asteroid belt, its advanced sensors gathering detailed scans of the turrets and their firing arcs. They moved closer to the habitable planet, noting the presence of several military installations. Ensign Lee: Captain, this planet is a strategic military hub. They have 150 warships here, and their defenses are tight, but we've mapped out their turret placements and identified potential weak points. Captain Yosef: Excellent. Log the data and set course for the next system. Location: Gamma Orionis system. The Gamma Orionis system was vast, with 5 planets and numerous moons. Defensive satellites orbited each planet, creating a complex web of security plus 100 warships. Lieutenant Mara: Captain, we have 5 planets here. 2 are habitable, 1 is a desert world, and the remaining 2 are gas giants. Each planet has a network of defensive satellites. They seem to have a lot of shipyards here. Captain Yosef: Focus on the habitable planets. We need to know their defenses inside out. Venus moved stealthily through the system, its sensors capturing data on the satellite networks and planetary defenses. They noted the presence of a large space station orbiting one of the habitable planets. Ensign Lee: Captain, the space station seems to be a command center for their defenses. If we take this out, it could cripple their coordination. Good to know. Make sure we get every detail and then move on. Location: Delta Eridani system. Delta Eridani was a binary star system with 20 planets and a series of moons. The twin stars cast a surreal glow over the planets, 8 of which were habitable. Lieutenant Mara: Captain, this system is unique. It has 20 planets, 8 of which are habitable. Defensive satellites and patrols are concentrated around the habitable ones. Let's take a closer look at those habitable planets. We need to understand their defenses and infrastructure. The Venus crept closer, its sensors dissecting the layout of the defensive networks. They identified key military outposts, 100 warships, and noted the presence of a significant civilian population on one of the planets. Ensign Lee, Captain, this planet has a large civilian population. Their defenses are a mix of military and civilian structures. Log everything. We need a complete picture. Location, Epsilon Reticuli system. The final system, Epsilon Reticuli, had 4 planets, 3 of which were habitable. The system was heavily militarized, with warships patrolling regularly. Lieutenant Mara, Captain, we have 4 planets here, 3 habitable. The system is heavily fortified, with a large fleet present, 250 warships. This will be our most challenging system. We need to be extremely careful. The Venus navigated through the system, its stealth capabilities pushed to the limit. They gathered data on the fleet movements, planetary defenses, and identified several key military installations. Ensign Lee, Captain, this system is a major military hub. We've identified several critical targets. This system is their home system with their home planet. Good work, team. Let's finish up and get out of here. Location en route to Terran space. As the Venus slipped out of enemy territory, Captain Yosef allowed himself a moment of relief. They had successfully mapped the defensive systems, planetary layouts, and habitability of 5 enemy solar systems without being detected. Well done, everyone. We've gathered invaluable intelligence. Command will be very pleased. Lieutenant Mara says with relief, I have to admit, Captain, I was on edge the whole time. But we did it. Ensign Lee, smiling, agreed. Let's just hope Captain Carson doesn't expect us to top this mission. Captain Yosef, laughing, Carson can wait. For now, let's get this data back to command. In Sector 51, a multitude of warships are gathered, from dreadnoughts, aircraft carriers to frigates and troop carriers. On board the flagship, Invincible, a powerful and colossal dreadnought, Admiral Darius and General Meng, they were finishing up the invasion plans. General Meng, how much time do we have until we leave? Admiral Darius, not much, but we have to wait a little longer. Why? Asked General Meng. Admiral Darius spoke with a serious voice. There are still a few warships that have to come, and we received word from the higher-ups that they are sending us a surprise, something that will shock even us. General Meng, with a look of surprise on his face,